All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
Hey guys, welcome back to the other side of the coin. Obviously, we're going to be a bit flat after that performance. That's very, very natural. Before we get into all of that, first of all, thank you to everyone that's joined and will be joining throughout the stream. Please smash that like button. We are going to talk about everything. Obviously, pass us your questions as well and things that you want us to raise as a panel. We're happy to do that. But before we get into all of that, I've got my boys here, the Elite Three, in this review. Jonathan, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. Not a great start to the weekend though. Disappointed with how we've played there. With so much. We'll get into it. I don't want to say too much now, but yeah, disappointed. But good, and obviously nice to be on with you three as well.
No, for sure. Nishal, my man, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, actually. I'm not as crestfallen as you guys. Not a good performance, not a great result, but there are positives and I'll talk about them. But yeah, good to be back on and good to be here talking with everyone again about the game.
Nice. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not like absolutely disheartened or, shattered. It was just disappointing for me. But as you said, we'll get into that. Taryn, my boy, how's things?
Yeah, that's what I hate, the early kickoffs. It's one way to just ruin your weekend completely, in my opinion. But yeah, I didn't mention this enough on the match preview. But Nishal, congratulations for your interview with Thomas Tuchel and your coverage. And yeah, I'm really happy to be back on with Jonathan as well. Was missed on Thursday and back with you as well, miss. So yeah, looking forward to getting into match review.
100%. I think everyone looks so depressed, just like me. Thompson Jones, I think you've summed it up nicely, my man. Guys, let's talk about this. I think if we talk about it, all of us here in the live chat as well, and obviously the people in the panel, all my mates in the panel, will feel hopefully slightly better. There's a lot of games still to look forward to. There's a big Atletico game to look forward to. So there's a lot of things happening. But in this particular match, let's start off with some opening statements. I'll start with the same sort of sequence. I'll go with Jonathan. Jonathan, just some of your initial opening statements about this match. What's going around in your head?
To get into the top four, and then the next game we play to kind of start like that, we just didn't really get our second gear, and it was disappointing. I don't feel like the team was the right one. I don't feel like the tactics were spot on. I feel like Tuchel, it wasn't, in terms of the substitutions, it wasn't really good today. I feel like it's kind of the first mistakes he's made, and it's shown today. And, all I can say is we haven't lost the game. We've got a draw. And still, we could maybe have nicked a win if we'd have just upped it a little bit. But yeah, just disappointed that we haven't built on the fact that we're now in the top four. It gives other teams around us the chance to build. So yeah, disappointed because we had some nice momentum. We were improving with every game. And I feel like this has just been a bit of a humbler just to bring us down a notch. And, with Atletico Madrid just around the corner on Tuesday, it's not really great timing. So, yeah, disappointed, but I know I'm going to feel better after the hour discussion we're going to have because it's a nice venting session.
For sure. You two boys, especially Nishal and Taryn, when we did that preview with the Southampton guys, I said it many times that I'm always weary about facing teams that have 6, 7, 5 losses in a row, and then we face them because this is the Premier League, no team is an easy team. And eventually some of these teams will, they generally don't go on a 10-match losing streak. So I'm always weary. I just wish it wasn't us. I just wish that we gave them their 7th loss in a row and they would have gone and done it to someone else. But it is what it is. Nishal, your initial thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting because that makes it now 1 win in 4 against Southampton, which doesn't make sense. With all due respect, Southampton, they're not necessarily a team who are going to outclass us every game, but we've struggled against them. And today, a very interesting performance, I've got to say. That first half, I've got to be honest, probably the worst 45 minutes we've seen under Tuchel. Yep. Not good enough, and it's hard to kind of pin it down to what was wrong. Because yes, there was a lot on the pitch we saw wrong. There was some team doubt, but I don't think we can blame it on Tuchel or his team selection. But we just weren't good enough in our first half. And I think credit that we got back into it in the second half. We looked much better, but then we still didn't get our grasp on the game. We were never really in full control, and we never really killed Southampton off. So it's a very disappointing result. You know, I see it as 2 points lost, absolutely. And, you know, that's going to be the same for every Chelsea fan. It's a big, big loss, especially with Liverpool, Leicester, who else? And West Ham as well below us. They're all playing and they all have winnable games. So, you know, worst case scenario, we could be dropping back out of the top 4. But as I said, I'm trying to be positive. Look, we're still unbeaten under Tuchel. We still had 5 wins in a row in all competitions. Yes, we have our biggest game so far under Tuchel and a really, really tough run coming up. But it's not the end of the world. Look, we're still in good form. We're still in a good position. We have the players. We've got the mentality back. We've got the motivation. Today wasn't the day, but we have to recover and we need to show our character to be able to prove ourselves in Bucharest against Atletico.
No, for sure. Esgord, Tuchel got it wrong. Alonso should have been off for Cho. We will talk about the substitution. As you can see, one of my heading for this particular review was questionable substitutions. I think since Tuchel has taken over, his subs have been fantastic. So but today, a lot of things I've seen. Michel tweet out, I think must have been at halftime or maybe 50th or 60th minute, saying that, you know, Tammy Abraham's been taken off at half. Was he really fit? Callum Hudson-Odoi taken off. So we're going to talk about it because, yeah, if Tammy wasn't fit and you have to take him off at halftime, well, why did he start? Wasn't Giroud considered one bit? I'm looking at the team. Looks like Giroud was in the sub. So we'll talk about that. Taryn, your initial thoughts, my man?
Yeah, I just think we're a little bit lucky that there is some fixtures like Leicester, Aston Villa going on, which 2 teams, one of them could drop points and help us. Liverpool, Everton and Man United could drop points as well. There is some fixtures that we are lucky, but I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'm extremely, extremely disappointed with the performance today. I thought that if we were playing against maybe a team that was in form like that, we would have got absolutely pummeled like 3 or 4-0, maybe a Leicester if we played like that again. But yeah, a 1-1 draw for Atletico could have been worse if Vestergaard would have scored that header. Yeah, we didn't really create any chances whatsoever that I can remember of, huge chances, apart from the Mount one that was even offside. But yeah, Tuchel made a few errors in the lineup today. I want to have an explanation why Hudson-Odoi was taken off. If it was an injury, I'm going to be enraged by that. But yeah, I'm just going to try and be positive with this. And yeah, but I'm fuming, to be honest.
No, I love it, man. I can see that you're burning, bro. You are absolutely burning. Let's get straight into this lineup. I want to go first up. Guys, honestly, I'm going to be like straight up truthful here. When I saw this lineup come up, I tried to be positive, but deep down, when I looked at this and I saw that there was no Callum Hudson-Odoi in the right wing back position, there was no, I suppose, you know, Ziyech or I know Pulisic, and I didn't even know Kai Havertz. I thought Kai Havertz was training, so he wasn't even in the team. Abraham, I was a bit worried that is he really fit? I mean, basically, when I looked at these boys, the only sort of hope I had was, well, it's really up to Mount and Werner to do everything, because Abraham's not a creative type of number 9. You know, he can't just be dropping deep and, you know, laying the ball off and zipping away and, you know, twisting and turning and dribbling. He's not that type of a player. He's someone who's a finisher, and you know, lately he hasn't been doing that either. So, and then I look at Reece James. He doesn't give us the same impetus as someone like Callum does, where he's able to take on a player 1v1, which some of the, you know, live chat fans have been saying it. Reece James, this is the reason why I don't like him as a wing back, and I know Taryn has talked about this. But yeah, overall, I wasn't entirely happy with the lineup, guys. I've got to be honest. When I look at the subs, I was like, okay, we've got some firepower in the subs in the likes of Ziyech, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Giroud, Chilwell. Yeah, and it sort of translated in that first half that we weren't very creative at all. Mason Mount was the only sort of light, but it was just too much for Mason to do. Timo Werner his work rate was fantastic, but it just wasn't enough. We didn't get enough from the wing backs. And in this situation, in this formation, you need a lot from the wing backs. And Alonso, who we will talk about separately. I'll go to Jonathan. Jonathan, what was your thoughts about the lineup?
I just want to open up because I've just seen some quotes on Twitter from Tuchel. Abraham wasn't brought off due to injury. Hudson-Odoi not injured either. Wasn't happy with the energy. So really, really interesting because Hudson-Odoi came off and kicked something. The commentator said so. Yeah, ruthless. I feel like Hudson-Odoi is just someone he really likes, and he's going to always be a little bit more harsh on him. So I feel like today to bring him off in that manner, interesting ahead of a massive game on Tuesday. But yeah, big words. But yeah, in terms of the lineup, I was happy that Mendy was back. I said we needed to get our number one back. He wasn't really tested today, was he? Other than the goal, and Minamino did well. Zouma to come in, I feel like he rested Christensen because if Silva doesn't play on Tuesday, we need a better ball playing centre back, and I feel like he put Zouma in as a chance. If Silva's not fit, Christensen can come in and he's fully rested. To bring James in, that's fine. I thought, rotate Hudson-Odoi, give him a rest ahead of Tuesday. And then, Kante to come in. I thought it was a smart move because he's energetic and Southampton have tricky midfielders and attackers that can get into pockets, and Kante's someone that just wants to run around and nick the ball off, which he did really well in the first half. I thought he was one of our
better he did that. Yeah.
He was always looking to intercept and move the ball on. So I get why he did that, but yeah, it was other than sort of Mount, Abraham, Werner, there wasn't really much attacking for it. And I feel like that is one of the drawbacks of this 3-4-3 or 3 at the back, shall we say, because we don't always have enough going forward. And this is the
thing, Jonathan. If you don't play Callum Hudson-Odoi as a wing back,
you lose it. James showed today that the chance in the second half late on, didn't shoot, maybe could have taken a touch or shot better, didn't drive enough at players like Hudson-Odoi has. And then you've got Alonso on the left who did take and occupy some nice spaces, had that really early volley that he didn't do very well with. But yeah, it just looked a bit lethargic and a bit lackluster. And Alonso obviously embodies that because of the way he is anyway. So he's always going to get a bit more stick. But yeah, let's look at this quickly against Atletico Madrid. If they're set up so well defensively, if we set up with that 3 at the back, with not much attacking intent and output, we are not going to break them down. Is it maybe a chance to switch the formation or make sure that you have a Hudson-Odoi and a more attacking left wing back as well? I don't know, but it didn't fill me with confidence today. And I don't want to overreact because this is the worst performance under Tuchel, and we've drawn 1-1 away to Southampton, who are a dangerous team, no matter the results that they've had recently. So the fact that I feel like we got a lot wrong today and we've come out of a point isn't the worst thing. But yeah, to kind of go back to your initial point, line up had Atletico Madrid in mind, in my opinion, but it was still good enough to win the game if you think about it.
Yeah, for sure. Like Taryn said it, that we didn't create enough clear-cut chances, but we got into situations. The amount of time we hit the byline and then there was zero production off the back of that was the frustrating matter for me. Like we hit the byline and then we could not find a pass to our player that was free to score the goal. Either it hit the defender, it went out, or whatever the case was. That was the issue, big issue. Taryn, I'll go to you now. Just quickly, Zippy, this is actually a very good comment. The biggest downfall of playing with 3 at the back is less attacking output. You need someone like Hazard for it to flourish, in my opinion. Yes, you do need that X factor of an individual. We were hoping that it's someone like, Ziyech, it could have been, but he is so not in form. It's not even funny. We really need him to get back into form. But in situations like this, you need that Callum Hudson-Odoi as a right wing back, which adds an extra added attack. So, for example, if you were to look at this lineup, let's just quickly go back. You take, let's say, someone like, for instance, for argument's sake, you take someone like Azpilicueta out and you put Reece James, let's just say, and in the right wing back, you have someone like Callum Hudson-Odoi. You then already have Callum, Mount, Werner trying to create havoc up front, and then someone like Alonso and Abraham can come into the mix and try and score the goal. So when you don't have that, I suppose, impetus, and you don't have that Callum Hudson-Odoi, and you rely on Reece James, who is not Callum Hudson-Odoi, it becomes very tough. Taryn, looking at the lineup, what was your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I touched on it in the preview. I don't think Reece James is. I think Reece James is a really, really good footballer, and I think that he's been one of our best players this season. But not for me as a right wing back. I don't think he gets at the players enough. I don't think he has the intelligence in the final third as a finisher. He's a very good cross of the ball, and I think would suit the right centre back role a little bit more in the system. And just going back to that comment a little bit, I don't think that having the three at the back should affect our attacking input in the system, in my opinion, because we play on the front foot. We don't play as Conte as a counter-attacking team, so we don't rely on someone like Hazard. We have a lot of possession of the ball, and it's a different system. We have more interchanging in the final third, not just a lump like Costa up front to just smash up to. We have Werner, Mount, Hudson-Odoi, all capable players to create an attack, but something just not clicking in the final third, and it was going to cost us eventually. I'd said in the preview as well, me and Nishal, that Chilwell would probably have been better to start this game to get that right wing back spot that's a bit weak for them at the minute. Gineppo, I've never seen him play right wing back in my life. He did a good job today, but against Alonso, he could maybe have had a little bit of extra pace to tackle him. Chilwell maybe would have gone behind a lot more and challenged Salisu, who has been out for like 3 or 4 months with a knee injury. So
Alonso's
I think
pace just lets us down, bro. His pace, just everything is in slow-mo.
No, I think Alonso is really good in that position. He gets into the box and he isn't in there for his pace to get him behind. But in different games, you can't just play Alonso in every game. There's some games where you need someone to get him behind and to cause an issue. I thought that Kurt Zouma, there's been a lot of hate of him. I didn't think he was that bad at centre-back, in my opinion, apart from that lack of concentration, which could have been better communication with our captain, our club captain, and Reece James. But yeah, I thought Zouma was okay. Mendy back in, always nice. Kante, again, was one of our best players in this game, but I touched on this before as well, that our best two in terms of chemistry in that middle is Jorginho and Kovacic. And for Kovacic to flourish in that team, he needs Jorginho next to him. Kovacic looked like an absolute ghost of himself today, and we didn't see him make any damn runs past the defenders. He seemed to be a bit cautious. The fact that Kante starts to drift forward as well, Jorginho could have helped that, but yeah, it was disappointing, and I think we could have won. There was a few good chances, like Alonso's volley, which we've seen him against Newcastle last year, against Spurs. He can hit them easily, bottom corner, but maybe over kind of games in the recent weeks, a little bit of fatigue I saw it as. But yeah, I thought the lineup was good enough, as Jonathan said, to win the game.
Yeah, no, fair point. Nishal, I remember your lineup. You had Giroud up front. I think you had the Kante Kovacic, fair enough, but you did have Chilwell as well as your left wing back. What were your thoughts when you saw this lineup?
The thing about our lineups is, and this is not a criticism to you guys, it's a general thing, but there's always something that people aren't happy with. And I've learned to just accept and trust our management. I've done that for a long time now. Whenever Lampard have a lineup, whenever Tuchel has a lineup, trust them. You know, they're the ones who see them day in, day out. They're the ones who know their players so well. Yes, Tuchel is still learning about his players, but he sees them every day. So I don't like myself to be saying, where's so-and-so, why isn't so-and-so playing, why is so-and-so there? Because at the end of the day, it's not my job. And if we win, we say that was a brilliant lineup. If we lose, we say that was an awful lineup. But at the start of a game, there's always an agreement that the lineup's either good or bad. And regardless of that, opinions will change based on the result, which is something I don't like to do. On that note, with a lineup, I was fine. I saw it and I said, yes, that's fine. I'll take that. You know, a few interesting choices. I think seeing Kurt Zouma did surprise me, but I'm glad to see him get a chance. You know, he's been someone who has suffered, let's be honest, under Tuchel so far. But it was really lovely to see him come back in. Reece James, Marcos Alonso, yeah, fine. And N'Golo Kante, like I said. Tammy Abraham did surprise me. We knew he was fit and that he'd be back in the squad. But I did want to see Olivier Giroud. We spoke about his good record against Southampton. I think he was the perfect player for this game. And when we saw Abraham was coming off and struggling, I thought it's got to be Olivier Giroud. So I was quite disappointed to not see him feature. But at the end of the day, I'm not the one who chooses the lineups. I can talk about it, I can give my opinions. But whatever lineup the manager picks, it could be the best lineup in the history of his football club. It could be the under-16s for all I care. There will always be something that the fan base and everyone will pick at it for. And I think there needs to be more acceptance and more trust in the management, because we talk about trust in the process and trust in the management, and that comes down to the lineups. So I was fine with it, and I accept the lineups and the choices.
No, fair point. I mean, you know, you're being positive about it, and that's absolutely fine. But I feel like sometimes you're right. We can never be happy with whatever lineups we put in. But I think today's lineup there was a lot of gaps in my opinion. You could have almost say 90% of a good lineup and about 10%. But today I felt like there was several gaps. Like for example, Thompson Jones here. This was a game for Giroud. As you said, Nishal, you had Giroud in your lineup, and question marks have to be raised as to why was Tammy opted for this match. And then you took him off at halftime as well. I get you tried to correct it, but why not Giroud? Was Giroud rested for Atletico? I mean, Giroud is a kind of a player that is probably capable of playing 2 back-to-back games. And Atletico is still a couple of days away. So, there's a question mark on that. Yeah, Chilwell, I mean, if you're going to play Alonso against... So what does that mean? If you play Alonso now, is Chilwell playing in Atletico? So it'd be strange to think that if Alonso also plays in Atletico, well, surely you could have given Chilwell an opportunity on this game. So I just feel like there were some gaps in this particular lineup. And as you have all said, it's not like, absolutely all gone to South now. No, it's nothing like that, but it's just basically analysing the game. Let's talk about the goal, first of all. I'll go to you, Jonathan, first up. I feel like when you have 3 at the back, to fall asleep in that manner, the way we did in between Azpilicueta and Zouma, that's a little bit embarrassing, in my opinion, because the whole reason of having 3 at the back is so that you're tighter and so that there's no players that can just easily go through the middle. And the way Minamino just went straight through the middle, he positioned himself. He saw that the gap between Zouma and Azpilicueta was so wide. He positioned himself, and then obviously, can't remember who did the assist. Was it James Ward-Prowse that put the ball in? I can't completely remember.
It was Redmond.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Redmond. And, they saw the play. They saw exactly what was transpiring in front of them, and they slid him through. And from there, it was one-on-one situation, and he was always going to finish. Jonathan, do you like Zouma to be the center of the 3 CBs, or would you prefer him on the left? Why is it the fact that he's in the middle? Although, as Taryn said, I don't think he was bad at all. There were a couple of times he's pinged in some really nice balls towards the wings, to fullbacks. But I'm always a bit weary about Zouma being in the middle, because you need to be someone like Thiago Silva, basically. So alert all the time in the middle, not only with the ball, but without the ball as well. Your thoughts on that whole selection?
Yeah, I've touched on it before about being the ball player and someone who leads and dictates, because you've got to take off players that from the left centre-back, from the right centre-back. And what didn't happen in that phase of play is Minamino was sort of starting on the left. He drifted between James and Azpilicueta throughout the game. He's then gone on to Azpilicueta's side. He then wasn't passed across to Zouma. Zouma and Azpilicueta, there was no communication. He gets in between the two of them, like you say. And it was a very quick attack from Southampton. They sort of got the ball turned, and Redmond just put him straight through. And Minamino was running through on goal. I would have liked to have seen Mendy come out a little bit more and be a little bit bigger. Azpilicueta obviously has slid down, and he's sort of gone down, and he's put him on his backside, Minamino, and put it into the back of an empty net. But yeah, it wasn't good enough between Zouma and Azpilicueta. They didn't communicate. The fact that you've got such a large space between 2 players when you've got 3 centre-backs, it's not very good. And yeah, I was annoyed because we had all the play. It was pretty much their first attack, and we switched off. We've lost concentration, and we're on the back foot. So yeah, for me, Zouma, like you said, for him to be a middle centre-back, I just don't think he's switched on enough, and I don't feel like he's able to take off players from either of the defenders, which you have to do as that middle guy. Yeah. And yeah, he can play the odd ball, but you've got to be a little bit more composed. And yeah, it's nothing against Zouma, because I think he's a good defender, and as sort of the left centre-back today, he might have been probably a little bit better. But I go back to my point. I honestly think he rested Christensen just in case Silva's not fit, and he didn't want to risk anything. So I feel like that's why he's played there. But yeah, pretty much. Here's
the thing, though, Jonathan. Our centre-backs also needed to have rest. Christensen hasn't even been playing that much this whole season. He's played the last 4, but does he need to have a rest before the Atletico game?
I feel like the plan is for Thiago Silva to play against Atletico Madrid. If he's not fit, if Christensen doesn't play, would I be confident in going with that back 3? Probably not. When you've got someone like Suarez who's going to occupy space, if Suarez has the positions and has the space that he's afforded to today from this back three, he can cause problems. And you've got João Felix as well that can get into pockets. So I just feel like he didn't want to take any risks, and he just wanted to give Zouma a chance because he's only played in the FA Cup, I think, under Tuchel. Yeah. So it was a chance, and we've talked about it. It's not his best position, so it's hard to judge him today because there wasn't much that he did wrong. It was only really the goal that we struggled with defensively. There was hardly anything for us to do other than the Vestergaard, I think it was, header from a cross.
Besides that, they had
came from the corner.
They had nothing.
Exactly. So in these sort of games, when you have so much possession, so much of the ball, your defenders have to be switched on. And it was just a shame that we did switch off at that at the wrong time.
Fair play. Nishal, I want obviously we're going to talk about the substitutions. I really want to talk about the Kante and Kovacic, the relationship. Obviously, we've seen Kovacic and Jorginho have fantastic. They've got a great chemistry. The ball moves, the tempo is faster. The passing is quicker. Nothing against Kante. I thought he was decent. He intercepted. He what Kante does, seeks, destroys, finds. But I feel today where the issue was at times, and Kovacic at first half looked okay-ish. Second half, I don't think he was good at all. This is what I said the other week. Remember when I said Kovacic gets to be Kovacic because he has a Jorginho beside him. When he has a Kante beside him, a little bit of that Kovacic flavor, it gets, somewhat diluted, I suppose. He has to check himself because Kante has a tendency of running forward as well. Do you know what I mean? He just naturally wants to run forward. And Kovacic cannot always do that. He plays with a little bit more conservative approach. What was your thoughts? Do you like this partnership? Do you want to see this continue? Or do you want to revert back to Kovacic and Jorginho?
We had a great discussion earlier about the different midfield partnerships and what each one allows. And you just said it perfectly. Jorginho is there so he can allow his midfield partner to go forward in Kante or in Kovacic. And I think when you put those two together in Kante and Kovacic, they've got more of a tendency to go forward and push forward. And maybe that's where we can put a bit of a fault and a bit of a blame for Southampton's goal. But, I think they put in a good shift. I was happy with our midfield partnership, and I chose it for a reason because I believed in it. It wasn't like
you did choose that.
Yeah, and it wasn't the case I'm resting Jorginho just for the sake of it. So I don't care. Play Kante. There's enough trust in Kante and Kovacic to play together, and they did have a good game. They played well. I was impressed by Kovacic. I think he had a very good game in midfield, really driving forward, and he looked himself. But like you said, there's a bit of that gets removed when he's got to be more cautious as a defensive midfielder, because naturally Kovacic is a more attacking midfielder, in my opinion, whereas Kante, he likes to attack as well, but he's best as a defensive player. So when you've got those two both want to go forward, we're more vulnerable going back. I saw a lot of situations where it was just our back three against Southampton's attack because Kovacic was tracking back, Kante was still tracking back as well from attack, and we had those situations. I don't fault the Kante-Kovacic partnership today. I don't think it's something we need to get rid of in the future. I just think today, I'm happy he got played today, don't get me wrong. I think it was the right midfield to play, and I think they did play well. But I think what we saw today with Kante and Kovacic showed us exactly why Jorginho and Kovacic work so well together, because they complement each other. Because while one sits back, defends and covers that midfield space, the other can charge forward, start attacks, and really get the game going. So it didn't show us the faults of Kante Kovacic, but it showed us the advantages and the strengths of Kovacic and Jorginho.
No, absolutely. Fair play. Probably the right game to experiment that whole Kante Kovacic. Overall, as you've said, Nishal, it's not that they were entirely poor. I guess at times, as you said, Kovacic was the only one protecting, the back three, and it looked like Southampton players were, constantly in that situation where, 4 versus 4 sort of situation because Kante bombed up. Generally, I feel like we press as a unit better when Kovacic and Jorginho sort of plays together. The chemistry is better in midfield. There's some comments here that Jorginho and Kovacic will get run over against bigger teams like Atletico and United. We'll get to see. We'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure Jorginho and Kovacic will be back for Atletico. It'll be good to see what happens under this system. As to what transpires, I suppose. Taryn, I want to talk to you about this particular comment here. Shout out to Leas. Leas, thanks for joining, my man. Obviously, Man United game will come up very soon after the Atletico Madrid game, so there'll be a lot of content with my man Leas and us four. Obviously, we'll talk about it. But Taryn, this comment here, Tuchel's done brilliantly to implement an effective press and shape, but the lack of real penetration and chance creation is worrying if you're a Chelsea fan. You touched about this on your just initial statement. What can we do, man? I mean, I feel like we get into good positions. It's just we don't create that clear-cut sort of moments often enough in a match to win a match comfortably. Obviously against who was it where Mason Mount scored? Was it Burnley? Yeah, there was Sheffield United where Werner cut back in and there was a nice chance creation. You look at any of our recent games, Newcastle, 2 goals, yeah, fair enough, but we're not creating many chances. What is it? What is it that's not clicking for us?
Yeah, today I would put the lack of chemistry to, in my opinion, some individuals in the team that, again, with Reece James in the final third, I don't think he helps as much as Callum Hudson-Odoi. And with this system, I feel like with Mason Mount and Timo Werner as your most creative players, you can argue that Mason Mount is a really creative player, but you could have Ziyech there. He's much more creative. And Callum Hudson-Odoi just helps with the overload on the right-hand side, overload that side, create more chances, maybe to switch the play to turn Alonso to hit it with a clearer cut chance than today. But yeah, I've touched on this a lot, that if it will come over time, it will definitely come over time. We've created a lot of chances, and maybe as we switch systems, it will come. The more chances will be created as we have an extra cam on the pitch instead of another centre back. But yeah, we haven't really created as much as chances, but we keep winning games, so I don't really see the issue right now. Today was a big showing of why we need to create more chances, but there were still chances that we could have scored from today, and I think more time on the training ground with Tuchel, where he likes his players to be, usually on the pitch. And these attackers haven't really played together the whole season. I wouldn't say, like Alonso hasn't really connected with the likes of Mount on the left hand side and Werner. So I think that it will come over. We don't really have time at the minute, I'd say, to get used to each other in this league and with a really tight fixture schedule. But if we have one game where we maybe score 3 or 4 goals at home to maybe another lower team in the league, like a what can I think of, like I don't know, like a relegation team. Maybe it will help us to maybe create more chances in the future, be a bit more confident to take risks in the final third. But I'd take it back to the Newcastle game. There was a chance for Werner, literally a clear-cut chance. There was so many clear-cut chances in that game where we could have taken them. And yeah, the lack of confidence by Werner could have affected that. But I'm sure that will come later on in the final third. But it will have to take a big performance to change that. And right now, it doesn't really look like it's happening. If we can beat Atletico and score maybe 3 goals or something, I'm sure it will do wonders for this team. Because the team, I'm sure they believe in Tuchel's idea of football and his way of playing. We have a lot of possession of the ball. It's just the fact that we can create chances now. And
this is the thing, isn't it, Taryn? That Atletico don't let in goals, man. They do not let in goals.
That's what I'm saying. If we can destroy them, it will do wonders for our team.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be, if we're finding it difficult against these sort of oppositions at the moment, especially when Man United pumped in 9 against Southampton, and Southampton have been shipping goals against almost everyone. We're finding it difficult. Yeah, we really need to find, and I'm sure Tuchel will find a way, and we'll talk about this down the track. Jonathan, let's talk about these substitutions. Everyone wants to talk about these substitutions. Let's talk about these substitutions. First of all, Tammy Abraham. Even though Tuchel, you've commented just before in the initial parts of the stream that Tuchel said that it was an injury for Tammy Abraham. It was tactical. He looked like he had a lot of ice pack around his ankle area at halftime when he got subbed out and he was walking up the stairs. There was a lot of ice around his ankle. I mean, if it was tactical, what was the tactics in regards to starting Tammy Abraham? Do you know what I mean? Like, what was the thought process behind starting him? And then what didn't you like that you had to take him off? He kind of said that it was energy, didn't like the energy, but I don't know. I felt like it was more than energy in that first half. Like there wasn't proper attacking sort of philosophy that was going on. Are you okay with that substitution or even that selection to start off with Tammy Abraham?
Yeah, it was a strange one. I completely agree with Nishal that Giroud probably wouldn't have been a better option because he would have been more of a focal point, would have allowed us to get up the pitch a little bit higher. He would have allowed players to come off of him, link up. So, yeah, it was a strange one. But at the start of the game, I've wanted to see Abraham and Werner get a full 90 minutes together because I feel like, they can interchange positions. They can link up really well. And, half a match or 45 minutes, it just didn't really click. And was Abraham fully fit? I don't know. Do I think Tuchel would have started him if he wasn't? Probably not. So the fact he's taken him off at half time, I just feel like Tuchel is someone who is a little bit ruthless. If he doesn't like something, he's going to change it, and he's not going to wait around for things to go wrong. So I just feel like it was a tactical switch. And I'm looking at some comments. I can't see anything specific on Abraham. It's more that he wasn't very happy with Hudson-Odoi's energy, attitude, and the counter pressing. There's not too much on Abraham. And I'm waiting for Chelsea to tweet sort of the official answers to the media's questions after the game. But yeah, I just feel like it really wasn't working. He wasn't getting involved in the game. We weren't penetrating through the middle enough. We were getting a little bit of joy down the wings, but not enough. So I get why I took him off. But would I have brought Hudson-Odoi on for him? Probably not, because was Werner going to make much of a difference on his own? No. I feel like bringing Giroud on and having Werner off of him and then bring on Hudson-Odoi for someone else. Bring on Hudson-Odoi for Alonso. Bring on Hudson-Odoi for James, because Mount was the only one who really wanted to take the game by the scruff of the neck. So having Hudson-Odoi on the wings or even as another attacking mid like he did when he came on with Mount. Yeah, that's why I just feel like the subs weren't the best today, but it's the first time he's got them wrong. It's the first time I wasn't particularly happy with them. First time I wasn't particularly happy with how we approached the game. But, he said we had all the chances and possibilities to win. We were very good in 80 metres of the pitch, but the last 20, he wasn't happy. So that's why.
Here's the comment.
Yeah, it wasn't good enough. And, there was 2 or 3 times where Mount got to the byline really well. Werner got to the byline really well. And we put the ball back, but there was no one in the box. And there was no options because Southampton, seemed to crowd the box. And, instead of, putting the ball there where all the Southampton defenders are, someone needed to pull back like Giroud did in the game against Newcastle. Let everything, happen there. He then pulls out and he's there. We just need someone to be intelligent like that, just to give us an option on the edge of the box. Because Mason Mount could be, but he was the one driving play. So he wasn't able to be there. And maybe that's another reason why he wasn't happy with Hudson-Odoi. So, yeah.
And also, Jonathan, and also just to interject, sorry, man. How important is it down the track? I mean, I do like the double sixes of whether it be Kante, whether it be Kovacic and Jorginho, but how important is it down the track if we do play with the double sixes, whether it be 4 at the back, still with the double sixes? How important is it to have a player that has that late run to come in and just be just outside of the box and sweep things up? Like for example, a Casemiro of Real Madrid, do you know what I mean? Like, just has that ability to just hang about and just smash it in. Because I feel like whether it be Kovacic or Jorginho or even Kante, they're not smart enough to make those runs, those intelligent runs, just to be just outside of the box or just inside of the box. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was the Sheffield United goal summed it up brilliantly. Werner got to the byline, pulled it back for Mason Mount, who was in that hole. He has Alonso and Hudson-Odoi on that game, though, so he didn't need to make the runs in the channels and in the bylines. Whereas today, like I said, I feel like Mount wanted to take the responsibility on. There was a chance where last 10, 15 minutes where he took a shot, which did go over, but I feel like he was trying to press the play and trying to impress himself on the game, and he wasn't really helped by anyone else. So, look, are we going to switch to a 3-man midfield? Are we going to look to be a lot more threatening on the wing-back roles? I think Hudson-Odoi playing on the wings, as we've said, is something that gives us a lot more dynamism. But yeah, look, Tuchel was trying to find answers today because he wasn't happy, and I feel like that's why he's made the subs that didn't quite work. But it's the first time we've gone behind. If you think about this, it's the first time we've gone behind in a game. First time we've conceded a goal to an opposition player. So the fact that we started the second half really bright, we got the penalty. After that, though, it was just very pedestrian for the rest of the game. So that was what disappointed me the most. That came out, you could see he'd gotten to them at half time, made the sub, we got the goal back into the game, and then it just went a little bit flat. So thing is, we're all a bit disappointed, but I think Tuchel's going to be someone who's going to be on the players and telling them exactly what went wrong. So I feel like he's not very happy going behind. It felt like he felt abused and violated, and that's why he wanted us to go out quickly. But yeah, just we didn't maintain the pressure and the intensity throughout the half. And like you said, last 20 metres of the pitch, last final third, decision-making wasn't very good. And the chances we did have, we didn't make the right decision. So yeah, there's a lot to take from this game, but I don't want to overreact too much because we're still unbeaten, just 2 goals conceded. And I feel like that this is only the start under Tuchel. He's having to go this formation. It might change. Let's see. Tuesday night, he might throw us a curveball.
Nishal, let's talk about the second substitution, Callum Hudson-Odoi. We've got this comment here from Muzwidzwa. Hope I've pronounced that correctly. I think it was a mistake to take Callum off like that. Honestly, I know Thomas Tuchel, as Jonathan has just mentioned, said that once again it was due to the lack of energy. He didn't like the energy. I don't know, man. I just found that substitution very, very strange. I mean, I even tweeted out just before that substitution actually happened. I said, why not, for argument's sake, why not take someone like Kante out or Kovacic, bring in Reece James into the middle, have Callum Hudson-Odoi move back into the right wing space, and bring in someone like Ziyech. So then you've got more attacking prowess and you've got that physicality of Reece James. Or you could have even taken Reece James off and moved Callum Hudson-Odoi there and bring in someone like Ziyech if you wanted to just keep that middle section. Was that baffling to you a little bit, that whole Callum Hudson-Odoi substitution? Did you think he was that poor for him to be substituted off? And how much? I mean, he was on such a high. I mean, you'd have to really explain to Callum Hudson-Odoi, because that a youngster could take that as a very embarrassing thing in front of the millions I've been seeing around the world.
When I saw Ziyech getting ready to come on, I was sat there trying to work out what change is going to be made. You know, Timo Werner's been playing well. Mason Mount's been playing well. Callum Hudson-Odoi, in my opinion, had been playing well. So I thought, maybe we'll get Mason Mount off, move Werner up top, and then get Callum on the left and Ziyech on the right. But when I saw the number 20, I was baffled. I really was. And I didn't understand what the thinking was, especially he'd come on at half-time, and like he always does, he changed the game. We looked better with Callum Hudson-Odoi in the pitch. So after half an hour to decide, no, we're making a change. Look, Tuchel is a manager. I've said this. You make the decisions you want. He's entitled to his opinions and all of that. And I completely respect that because, as I said, I trust Tuchel. But in this situation, I don't understand why Callum Hudson-Odoi, who for me was with Mason Mount, the brightest player on the pitch, why take him off and ruin that flow? Because I think in those final 15 minutes, we were poor again. The best period we had on the pitch were where Callum Hudson-Odoi and Mason Mount were linking up. So as soon as that came out, that was ruined. And that bond was ruined. I think energy is a really tough criticism. I think he was, in my opinion, I think he was given good energy. I said he was playing really well. He changed the game like he does every time he comes on the pitch. And what's even more baffling, I think, and I'm going to be really cynical, Ziyech was poor. He was so poor coming off the bench. You bring a substitute on like that, a winger, a fresh winger, a very good footballer, you bring them on to change the game. But changing the game by bringing off your most influential player for one of your most out-of-form players, and then there was no surprise. As soon as Callum Hudson-Odoi was gone, we lost our energy. As soon as Ziyech came on, we had nothing on the right wing.
If anything, Vishal, you'd probably want to keep both of them, right? You'd want to keep Ziyech and Callum Hudson-Odoi, maybe spark Ziyech into life with having someone like Callum Hudson-Odoi.
I don't know, but I don't think bringing Callum Hudson-Odoi off was the right decision because, as I said, I think maybe Timo Werner, but then we wouldn't have had a natural striker, and that was my issue because I wanted to play in a striker, maybe a false nine, but we needed a target man in that situation. But if you're getting rid of someone who's changed the game for you And clearly, you know, any time Callum Hudson-Odoi has played, whether it's under Frank Lampard, under Thomas Tuchel, under Mauricio Sarri for all it matters, he changes the game. He brings a new lease of life into it. And to bring him off for an injury-prone, out of form, inconsistent winger didn't make sense to me. And I think I would maybe I don't want to blame Tuchel for that, but I don't think that was the right decision at all.
Yeah, no, I have to agree, man. I honestly, I would have. I don't know. Was Atletico in the mind? It really shouldn't be. I mean, Atletico. I just find it very difficult when the game is still good 2.5 days away. Do you know what I mean? Like, and we still need to come at least top 4 in this Premier League. I know there's still a lot more games to go, but this is a game that we should be winning. It's not like a Liverpool where we were losing 1-0. We came back. We got a good point out of it. You know, this was against Southampton, who's lost 6 in a row. I just thought that maybe he could have thrown the dice and really allowed to have Callum Hudson-Odoi still on and Ziyech as well if he wanted to bring Ziyech on and just have all that attacking impetus, because as we've all said, Southampton weren't going there and creating havoc after havoc after havoc. They literally had that goal and then in the second half that header that hit the post. Besides that, we were pretty much under control. Taron, my man, I want to talk about Ziyech now, the last substitution. Oh, man, it hurts, bro. It hurts because this player, I believe in him so much. And I can see some comments here, like, for example, Khan, man, it hurts, bro. Don't write this sort of stuff. Ziyech is too slow for the Premier League. I don't think he is, man. I mean, Ziyech has burnt the Champions League literally a couple of seasons ago with Ajax and the kind of fast-paced football they play over there. He ripped through Real Madrid. He's ripped through so many. Tottenham in the first leg. I know they lost at the end against Tottenham, but Taron, do you think this player is too slow for the Premier League?
No, I don't think Ziyech's too slow for the Premier League. But today, his performance can't be excused. He came off the bench and just kind of deaded our game in the final third. A lack of speed, lack of urgency, not getting in between the lines very efficiently. Salisu absolutely dominated him, a player that's been injured for quite a long time. But no, I'm definitely not giving up on Hakim Ziyech. I literally put him as my lock screen when he first came to Chelsea, so that's one thing I'm not going to forget about. And I know that he's a class player. We've seen it. I've come back to this in my first review I did. The ball they whipped to Quincy Promes. That's not any luck. His free kick that Kepa headed into his own net. His performance against Sheffield United was just proof that Sheffield United, as we saw in the reverse fixture 2-1, they're a really, really high pressing team, high intensity, and they will get in your face. And Ziyech dominated that game. He basically got 3 assists in that game and destroyed a team that is really known for their high intensity and bullying kind of football. But yeah, if Ziyech really wants to stay in this system, then he needs to just improve his game. I think that there's attacking it's not really suited to him very well.
This formation is not suiting him, is it? This formation is not doing the best.
I did originally think that this is an outlandish statement, but I thought that Ziyech could have the Bruno Fernandes effect as a 10 to receive the ball and basically control the ball from the middle of the pitch is how I saw Ziyech, to pick up the ball, play out wide. And from the way it's most dangerous in the pitch is the middle. You can play through balls through the middle to Werner, which I saw could happen, but I think that Ziyech's best position is as a winger. We can't really see him as a wing back right now. Hudson-Odoi has kind of cemented that position. I don't want Ziyech to play.
He's got to do a lot of track back if he's going to be a wing back.
Yeah, but he's come out and said that this Premier League is not all about the speed. It's about how you use your brain, how you use your mind to get into clever spaces and to outwit defenders, which, let's agree, Ziyech has a really good football intelligence and he can outwit most defenders in this league if he can get in front of them. But I feel like teams are, like last season we saw with Christian Pulisic a lot, teams are kind of saying when Ziyech comes on the pitch, get to him and press him. And it's all about his work with Tuchel, how to kind of evade that press, get into positions where it's quite hard for defenders. He can still drift out wide in this system, but it's the fact that we're playing quite a condensed part of the pitch now. We're playing a lot higher lines, so there's less space for him to kind of get out wide and whip the ball in from that position, as he's literally going to be near our centre-backs in that position. So for Ziyech, right now, I just think, again, more game time for him will make it better, and a good performance will help him in the long run. But we've all seen that Ziyech is a world-class player, and yeah, literally, he's a world-class player. He can do multiple things. He can be our magician that we pass to, and he creates everything for us. And goals, assists, long range shots. And I hope that Tuchel can really improve him, and these rumours aren't true that we've heard. Because I know Tuchel can get the best out of these players, like Marco Reus. He made him into a cam instead of a winger, which Ziyech was before a winger. He could have been made into a cam. He got the best out of Mario Götze as well. So yeah, I really want Ziyech to concede and him to be back on my lock screen next week when he destroys Atletico, hopefully.
I hope so, bro. Jonathan, you had something to say, yeah?
Yeah, I was going to say, look, he could play as an attacking mid in this system where he's a little bit freer, but why couldn't he play as a left wing back? Because Alonso doesn't really do much defensively. He's always seems to be the free man in our system. If you give Ziyech that much time and space, he's going to put the ball on a plate once or twice a game. So could Ziyech play on the left wing back role? Maybe. He can defend. I think better than Alonso. I mean, most people can defend better than Alonso. So it'd just be interesting because if you've got Hudson-Odoi on the right wing who's going to be able to drive at players and you've got Ziyech who can cross from the left, why not have two attacking wing backs? We don't have to play a defensively minded player there because if you've got Silva, Rudiger, Azpilicueta as your three centre-backs and Mendy in goal, I feel like that's enough protection and Jorginho and Kovacic in front of them. You've got, Kovacic can step across to the left if Ziyech is caught out of position. You've got Rudiger who happily steps forward and pings the ball forward. As I've said, I think Hudson-Odoi could play left wing back as well because it allows him to cut in. So there's so many solutions. And I think Tuchel's, we only see what's on the pitch. There was a good comment from someone earlier that said we only see the 90 minutes. He could be bollocking the players right now. He could be putting his arm around them. He could be saying this stuff to detract the fact that we've drawn this game when we needed to win. Because now everyone's talking about Hudson-Odoi and Abraham. I'm not saying he's doing the classic Mourinho take, all the pressure away, but it's the first time he's got something wrong and he's now come out and gone on the attack instead of going, yeah, it wasn't good enough. I didn't do this well. So I like the fact that he's come out fighting and on the touchline, you can see, and I can hear on my BT Sports stream that, you can hear so much of, how he's getting at the players, how he's really unhappy. So, is his comments to Hudson-Odoi just showing how much he demands of his players? Because we thought he was good in that 20 minutes. Maybe he just demands so much that even Hudson-Odoi wasn't hitting that level. So, it's really interesting to see because, we're only a few games in. We don't know, the future of Chelsea under Tuchel. So, at the moment, I'm looking at the Premier League table. I just want to, I know I kind of cut in, but.
No, that's fine, bro.
West Ham have got Tottenham at home tomorrow. Early kickoff.
I think they're going to beat them.
It's a tough game. Mourinho has won the first leg in the Europa League, so next week or whenever he plays the reverse leg, it should be a little bit softer. So Tottenham have to get some sort of. They need a performance to catapult them back and get some momentum. So going to one of their rivals and turning up and doing a classic Mourinho, I wouldn't put it past them getting at least a point. And if West Ham get a point, we're still fourth. Liverpool have got Everton. And Liverpool have to win by at least 3 goals to top us. So, worst case scenario, we could be 5th, maybe 6th tomorrow, but we could also be in 4th. So it's not the end. It's not the end of the world. I don't think. As much as we're gutted. We've drawn a game. We haven't lost a game and been taken apart. So the fact that we're now expecting so much because we've improved after every game, in my opinion, is a sign that we are heading in the right direction.
I think why most of us are gutted is because of the opposition. Because you expect to get the 3 points against someone who's lost 6 in a row, and moving into against Atletico Madrid, this was probably a 3-pointer. Whereas had this had been a Man United or Liverpool or a City, a lot of us probably would have said, get a point here. It's very important to get a point here. Move into Atletico, have that. It's just, this is the kind of performance that you didn't want before Atletico Madrid. You wanted this win against, and that's probably what has been a bit sort of disappointing. Just quickly about Ziyech, it's so important, just to touch on what Taryn said, and I completely understand what you're saying from a different perspective, a totally different perspective, Jonathan, obviously in a left wing back. The thing about Ziyech is, from what I've always seen him, whether it be Ajax days or even how Frank had used him, he loves to be on the right side, just sort of hugging the line, and he wants to face the ball so that he can look up and then go inverted and then whip that cross in or find that pass through the center or allow the right back to sort of overlap so he can put them through. And his game comes alive when he's able to have that control from the right. Whereas now he's having to play as a 10, one of those 10s. Well, really the right-sided 10. He's not able to get the ball and that space because you've got the right wing-back marshalling the right side. So he's getting suffocated off space and teams are pressing him quickly. So whenever he gets the ball, he needs to lay that off straight away. He doesn't have the space to look up, turn, and produce those passes because he's now really just facing his back. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether this formation, maybe a wing back, perhaps a wing back position could be right. Maybe Jonathan, as outlandish as it sounds, maybe a left wing back or maybe a right wing back is probably the best spot for Ziyech in this position. As much as we think as logically that maybe a 10 is a good position, but perhaps it's not in the formation and the style that we're playing because that 10 gets, pressed a lot and he just doesn't have that time to think that much. Moving ahead, boys, Nishal, I'll go to you now. Enough about this match. It is what it is. As Jonathan and Taryn and every one of you guys have said, like we're still fourth. We've got West Ham, and Tottenham playing. Anything can happen there. If they draw there, then nothing really. We don't get. If anything, we could still be fourth at the end of this weekend. That's what pretty much Jonathan was saying. Nishal, if we were to look forward, do you feel the boys are going to be? They just need to forget this. And for Atletico are coming first. They've only lost once this season. I think they've only drew 4 times or 5 times. They've been 5 times. Recently, they haven't been the best. They've not been in a superb form, but they are so dynamic when it comes to Champions League knockout sort of stages. How do you feel moving into this match, just so that we start preparing for this upcoming match?
However disappointing the result was today, we have to focus on Atletico. The focus has to switch now because it's a huge game. It is the biggest game so far under Tuchel, a massive European test. And, when the draw was made in December, we all said it's a massive draw. And my main perspective was so much can change in 2 months. And, that's been our case. But Atletico, they're still going so strong. They're deservedly top of La Liga. Although the games in Bucharest, they're unbeaten at home in La Liga and all competitions. They are a strong team. They're not someone we should underestimate. And Taryn's point about going there to score 3 goals was, I love your optimism, but I think, to be honest, if we can get 1 goal, I'm happy with it. Because we know what an away goal can do. We look back to Munich 2012 and we look back at that away goal from Juan Mata against Napoli. That was decisive for us. If we could just get an away goal at the National Arena in Bucharest, I'm happy. And I'll take that. It's going to be a difficult game. There's no doubt in that. And they have an incredible team. It's not going to be an easy task. But this is what we've been working towards. This is a big test for Tuchel. And I'm sure he knows that. All the players know that as well. And it will be really interesting to see how he approaches that game. Do we stay with a back 3 that has served so well recently? Do we go bold and go back to a back 4? Do we really go for the win? Or do we try sit back and keep Atletico at bay? It's going to be a fascinating battle, one I can't wait for. But it's going to be a very, very tough game.
As you said, Nishal, I love Taryn's optimism. He's a young lad with hot sort of blood rushing through. He wants 3 goals against Atletico. I get that. But, man, I'll be happy if I get 1, honestly. Thompson Jones, Tuchel looks pissed as hell in the press conference. At least we have a manager who sees the problem in his team. Being Natsali, it's been a while. Thank you for joining. Shocking play today by Chelsea. I'm confused on how Alonso played the whole game, yet Cho came on. We haven't really gone deep into this. Maybe I'll go to Taryn on this one before we sort of wrap things up. Taryn, how did Alonso stay on for the whole game? I'm not bashing Alonso, please. To all the live chat people and everyone that's going to watch, I am not bashing Alonso. I'm just saying that for me, Alonso is just simply good for clutch goals. He's sort of that ability to score goals and be around the box. But when it comes to pace, when it comes to defending, then again, he really didn't have to defend much. But there were many times where Mason did a 1-2, try to put him through, but he's not quick enough to get through to that. Werner put a ball through. He's not quick enough to get to that. I mean, Taron. That must be disturbing to see how Alonso sometimes just slows things down like that.
No, interestingly, I was actually thinking of that while Jonathan was speaking, that Cho came off after 20 minutes of doing arguably more than Alonso did in 90 minutes, I thought, in that game. I do like the balance with attacking on the right-hand side and Alonso acting as like a false 9 forward, but when teams kind of defend that right-hand side a little bit more, we look absolutely hopeless going on the left, unless there's Mason Mount there to kind of save us as per usual. I think that Alonso is kind of not the player we need in the system to attack teams who are a bit weak on that hand side. Chilwell would have been good, but there's some good points about Alonso that I really like as well. I feel like he does play for the badge, and I really feel like he does. He loves to play for Chelsea. We saw his goal against Burnley. He ran and kissed the badge. I'm not wearing a Chelsea shirt, but he kind of kissed the badge. But I like the way Alonso kind of drifts into the box and attacks the area, creates an overload, and gets some good goals sometimes. But yeah, if there was one player that would have came off today, I would have said Reece James or Alonso personally. Put Hudson-Odoi on either wings, and yeah.
Check that comment out. Is that? I mean, I kind of take that seriously a little bit. Thompson Jones. I can see one reason why Cho came off when Alonso did that no-look pass to Cho, because I found that no-look pass quite funny. But a lot of people were actually saying, why wasn't Callum running onto that? Did you see it that way as well, Taryn?
Do you know, to come back to that, maybe that was one of the reasons that Tuchel saw as a reason why they're taking him off, because he completely looked like he just zoned out and was thinking about what was having for dinner tonight, and he just completely just stood there like a lemon, like some spaghetti bolognese or something probably. But yeah, he completely zoned out, and yeah, maybe it was made to Mount, as we saw in the replay. Mount kind of was looking, and Alonso was trying to flick onto Mount, and Hudson-Odoi was trying to hold that. But yeah, I like the comment I saw about Livramento. I thought that he could do a much better. I think that he can do a much better job than Alonso. I've seen him in the Liverpool game yesterday. If any of you saw his goal against Liverpool under-23s, he cut in from the right and smashed it with his weaker foot.
It's under 23s, but it's too easy to do that kind of stuff. The way he sort of cut in, he's not going to do that in the Premier League. I would be very shocked if he ever gets that opportunity to do that in the Premier League. Premier League defenders would eat him up. But I get your point. Like, it's got the quality.
Again, I think that if we wouldn't have got rid of Tariq Lamptey, I think that he would have been perfect in this wing-back role for us in this system. But with Alonso, yeah, he's a good player, but does he have the right attributes and the right abilities to play in the system? I don't think so. Against Atletico, we're probably going to see Chilwell. I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't understand why he wasn't taken off. I really, really, really don't. Why Hudson-Odoi was shipped off and Alonso was kept on. But I'm sure in the interview there must have been a question. Hopefully Nizar Cancelo or someone asked him that. Not Nishal today to ask him, but hopefully someone asked him how the goal went. But yeah, I'm just trying to look on the positive side. But yeah, Alonso was a bit sus tonight, a bit questionable.
I wish Nishal was there in the press conference, and I'm pretty sure he would have asked about the Callum Hudson-Odoi. He really would have dug deep and got Tuchel under the pump. But boys, let's wrap this up. Jonathan, some final words, man, looking into the Atletico game. Forget about this game, man. This game, just stuff it, bro. Just talk to me about Atletico.
I hope I'm invited to the preview because I've got a lot to say about this game.
Just quickly, before you get into that, a couple of things, and I'll let you boys decide. Live chat. I've actually got an Atletico Madrid fan tomorrow, UK 7 p.m. He's not a Spanish dude. He's just someone who's followed Atletico for a very, very long time. He's actually an English dude. I think his name is, as I recall, Jack Robinson. I need to go back. But yeah, I've been recommended by Zach Lowy, because Zach's got a whole heap of all of these people that he talks to on a regular basis. So I've spoken to this person, Jack, and I've seen all over his timeline. He talks about Fatty all day long. He could also be a Liverpool fan because he had in his profile Scouser, or Scouse. Does that mean Liverpool fan, or maybe
he's just might just be where he lives? Yeah.
Or maybe where he lives. Yeah. So yeah, I've got him who knows everything about Atleti. So that'll be fun. And then I've also got Dan McCarthy the day after for the proper preview. So I've got Jack coming in tomorrow, which will be completely about Atletico Madrid, what they're up to, some of the players. who to look out for. So that'll be interesting. So yeah, I just wanted to say, boys, if you're interested in that. But yeah, go ahead, Jonathan.
Well-timed plug is all I can say. I mean, I'm just looking, Atletico Madrid, okay, they've only conceded 14 goals in La Liga this season. But what I think people fail to realise is they do score goals. They've scored 45 goals in 23 games. They're the second highest scorers in the
Liga.
Liga.
Have a look at my comment.
Jonathan, look who's here. Is the bad boys from Southampton.
Oh.
Mike and Jack.
Oh, yes.
You guys must be laughing.
I was not there on the
about what-
preview, so, I mean, I'm not to
Tarrant,
blame.
come outside. You said a 4-0, didn't you?
Yeah, I said it would be 4-1.
That's on you.
I
That's
was
on
trying
you.
to avoid that. Yeah, I was kind of trying to avoid that. I wasn't going to get into that, but yeah.
Do you know what? Oh, sorry, Jonathan. I know we've got you again, but shout out to the Matchday vlogs. Kudos to you guys to getting a point out of this. We will get you guys. Don't worry. We'll get you guys. But yeah, guys, go and subscribe to them. They're very, very nice lads. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say they score goals as well as, the fact that they're pretty tight. But, look at their last 6 games. They've conceded a goal in every game in the last 6 games. Twice they've conceded 2 goals. Celta Vigo and I think it was Cadiz as well. So they drew with Levante away from home on Wednesday. Yeah. So they're not in the best of form. They're drawing at home, surprisingly, to Levante now. They played them home and away in the Liga. But yeah, they've been conceding goals recently. They're not in the best run of form, in my opinion. So look, there's ways we can get at them, but there's going to have to be a much more. There's got to be more intensity. There's got to be more dynamism. There's got to be more chances created. And I'm sure Tuchel's going to look at this and have something in store. So, yes, it's a really tough game. But as Nishal said, and as we've all said, I think getting an away goal, at least one, is really important because then they have to come out I think it's the Stamford Bridge, isn't it? The second leg. So, they have to come out and that will hopefully give us some opportunities. So, yeah, it's really important that, we start on the front foot against them. But obviously, we'll talk about this game a lot more. But yeah, closing for me, it's not the end of the world as disappointing as I am. Yes, it is 2 points dropped against a side that have not been in great form. But I repeat, they are a good side. They do have good players. And Ings wasn't even in the game today. He's one of their most dangerous players. So it didn't even unlock anything with him. So
it was the penalty. Yeah. That's what was his contribution.
I think it was. Yeah, it's disappointing, but it's a humbler before the Atletico Madrid game that we needed to go, look, guys, we have to be on our game and be ready for this because, after Atletico Madrid, we have got a really tough run of fixtures. You look at Man United, now the Liverpool game's been moved, you've got Leeds, Everton. So this run of games doesn't get any easier and we have to be on song and we have to be on the money. So I think, that's Tuchel coming out and saying, look, guys, this isn't good enough. If you do this against the big teams, we are going to suffer. So yeah, I'm still interested for the next few games. I still feel like we're in a good position. It's not the end of the world today.
No, 100% agreed. I'm just worried that by the end of March, there could be a lot of Tuchel out gangs that could come out if the results don't go our way. That's just the way our fan base is. Nishal, Maldini's middle finger. I love Maldini's middle finger. I think they're saving the best for Chelsea. And just quickly as well, the person that I've got on tomorrow, his name is actually Jack Benson. I'm just having a quick look. Yeah, Spanish undergrad, Scouser, athletic and Spanish football. That's what he specializes in. So that's going to be interesting. Nishal, some final words, man.
It's a very, very challenging run coming up. Atletico Madrid, Manchester United, Liverpool, Everton. It does not get any easier from here. But from what we've seen in the first few weeks, irregardless of result, yes, we dropped 2 points today, but we've seen what we are capable of under Tuchel. We've seen that we can win games, we can control games, we can bring fringe players back into the fold. There are positive signs, and there's a lot of positives to talk about. Atletico will be the toughest game we've had under Tuchel so far. As Jonathan said, former side, Atletico are one of the best sides in Europe. There's no denying that. We have an advantage where the game has been moved away from the Wanda Metropolitano. That's really big for us. But if we can get an away goal, perfect for us. It will not be easy, but I think seeing Atletico and Simeone's defensive style against Tuchel's attacking style is going to be such a fascinating watch, and I cannot wait. If you enjoyed today's video, you can see all of my work on nishalsblog.com, and you can also follow me on Twitter at Nishal_SP. I'm very, very close to 5,000 followers, so thank you for your support. And if you want to help me get there, I would greatly appreciate it at Nishant_SP.
Guys, go out there, not just Nishant, every single one of my boys over here, but yes, also massively Nishant is so close to 5,000. All his social information are in the description right now. Go out there and follow him and do that. Taron, my boy, as like all the other time, letting you finish the show off. Give us your optimism. 5-0, 5-0 against Atletico Madrid. Timo Werner hat trick. This and that. And whatnot.
You're only going for 5-0. That's negative, isn't it?
I'm plastic, man. I'm plastic.
Yeah, that's not acceptable.
But yeah, Taron, some final thoughts on me.
Yeah, there's no coincidence that Atletico are top of the Liga by 6 points at the minute, with a game in hand, I believe, as well. Despite the bad form of Real Madrid and Barcelona this year, still to be top of the Liga, such a competitive league, I think that's amazing that they're top of it. And yeah, that game I think that's crucial. That is one of the main judgment days for Tuchel, for him to prove to the fans as well that he is the guy who can also get that creativity that we sometimes lacked under Lampard in the attack. And I'm just really excited for the next few games. I think that game is going to be absolutely amazing on Wednesday. Please don't be a 0-0. I hope that it's going to be a big scoring game. Hopefully we get an away goal. That's all I want from that game. I'll take a 2-1. I'll take a 2-1 win on our side. I just hope we can get that win going into this really tough run. I've seen some of the fixtures. Manchester United at home. That's at home. Yeah, Manchester United at home on Sunday. That's going to be a crucial game. Liverpool, Everton, Leeds. It's a really tough schedule coming up.
It's madness, bro.
A win here could set us up so nicely for this schedule. And I'm just really excited. And also, if you guys have enjoyed what I've said in this, sorry I've not been very positive today, but check out my Twitter down below and also my...
You've been the most positive out of all of us.
Yeah, I've got a really special episode of my podcast coming out on Sunday with a special guest who Miz knows about. I told Jonathan and Nishal in a second. But yeah, check my podcast out for Sunday and my other episodes. And follow all of these guys as well, Nishal, Jonathan and Miz, really good guys. And yeah, been nice to me so far. So hopefully continues.
Brilliant, my man. Those fixtures, I'm just worried. I'm just worried that the way our fan base sometimes sort of runs around, if those fixtures sort of have a negative outcome, I'm just worried that by the end of that Atletico Madrid home fixture, I just hope that people, and I don't want to compare here, with Frank and Tuchel. I just feel that with Tuchel, you really do. This is an experienced manager. You need to be patient. You have to be patient, and he will turn things around. And I'm hoping that we do see some positive results here. And it starts from Atletico Madrid away in the Champions League. How we sort of get past them, it'll be interesting to see how Tuchel manages that. If we can get ourselves an away goal and manage maybe a 0 or like a 1-0 or a 1-0 victory, that'll be fantastic. Then we'll obviously move into the Man United and Liverpool and all of that sort of fixtures, and we'll take it from there. Guys, if you've enjoyed this review, I know it was a flat review, not like all the other ones, but sometimes this is what happens. Please smash that like button. As I said, if you're here for the first time, subscribe. Tomorrow, I will have Atletico Madrid fan talking about all things Atletico, opposition analysis, all their players and everything, and how Diego Simeone sets up and what is expected against us in regards to Champions League football, and how they may sort of play our three at the back situation. So yeah, tune in for that, which is UK 7 p.m. tomorrow. So yeah, guys, until next time, see ya.